Hello, users, and welcome to another episodic installation of Above It All, the series in which I talk about Bernard Sanders. So we put out this tweet here, but the tweet's not the story. I just thought I would put it up because I'm going to talk about my first time canvassing. So I've done phone banking, and I was going to do text banking, but I just decided I would rather do phone banking just because it's more fun. I've done that a few times, talking to people on the phone and so forth. But today was my first time actually going out and canvassing. Sometimes I talked about Bernard to random people if they seem interested, but I've never actually gone door to door, and figured now's a good time to talk about it. So I live in North Carolina, which is a Super Tuesday state. If you live in a Super Tuesday state, I would highly recommend to organize and figure out how to canvass. Even if you're just by yourself, you can actually do a lot of stuff. I did it with two people, so there's two people or so in my town that were like, yeah, I'll put aside a few hours to get the greatest human being of all time elected president. It's not bad. But if you are by yourself, if you're the only one in your town, you can still do it. It might be a little scary, but honestly, once you get the show of things, like once you do like your first 15, 20, it's relatively easy. It's kind of, it's like, again, it's a little like if you're a little socially anxious, like I've got a lot of that stuff, got a lot of anxiety and all that crap, but once you just start actually talking to people, really the scariest part is anticipating as to whether or not they're actually going to answer. That's the scariest part because the first like 10 or so people just didn't answer. Either they weren't home or they didn't answer, so it's just like the kind of like the building anxiety of the first person that actually you get into a conversation with. But 9 times out of 10, most people are pretty nice. Like, this is one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that 99% of people are just regular folks. Especially if someone's going to answer their door, they're probably going to be nice. So you don't really have to worry. I live in North Carolina. I live in the South. There's definitely a lot of really creepy fuckers. I talked to someone that was, I would say, I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't say this, but I talked to someone that was a little creepy. But that's okay. That's okay. It happens. Most of the time, people are just going to be confused. Like, low information voter doesn't really describe a lot of people. Most people just aren't paying attention to the primary. I would say more people than not were like, oh yeah, I usually look the days before I vote or whatever, that kind of stuff. So again, the March 3rd Super Tuesday primary is coming up, so more people are starting to get like paying attention. But again, this is the time to strike. Like 3 weeks out or so. Actually, how far out are we out? We're actually, yeah, 4 weeks out. But either way, now is the time people are starting to really pay attention, because most people, again, they don't care about politics. They just, a few days before they vote, they look up all the candidates and go like, who's that? Who's that? Maybe they'll watch a debate or two. But like, being able to just say like, oh yeah, there's a candidate out there that wants to cancel your student loans. There's a candidate out there that wants to raise the minimum wage. I felt like that was probably the most receptive out of all of the policies. That and legal marijuana, I would say, maybe performed the best, I would reckon. But yeah, it's really fun. I would recommend doing it. I was out there for about maybe 3 hours. Around halfway through, we stopped at a playground and I played on the swings because that was fun. And I'm not creepy and I'm not weird, and you can quote me on that. And then, so it was about an hour and a half maybe, and then we took a little break, and then maybe 2 hours on the second part. I don't know. I don't remember when we actually started, so it's kind of hard to measure that. But I know when I left the house, and I know when I came home, but there was a little bit of prep time. You print off a few sheets. You want to, basically, the main thing you want to do is not argue with people. You just want to ask them what they would like, in politics. You ask them what's important to them. I had someone say that they were really reliant on Social Security, and that's their most important policy. So then at that point, you can give a few few things about Bernard's plans on Social Security and then just direct them to go to the website and so forth. You don't want to really sit there and spend half an hour on someone's porch because, that's time you could be getting more voters. If someone seems like they're already in the camp or you've convinced them to be in the camp, usually what ends up happening is usually, people don't necessarily like to be at their door for that long. So usually conversations about like maybe 60 seconds or so on average. And it's a pretty good time. You just want to seem friendly and so forth. But yeah, I had a fun time. I'm probably going to do a lot more over the next month. Again, my primary is on the 3rd, so I'm probably going to do a lot more over the next month or so. And I'm looking forward to it, definitely. And again, if you live in a Super Tuesday primary state, definitely do your part. Again, it is scary, especially if you're not a very social person to begin with, which I imagine a lot of people watching this video are not well acclimated in social environments, because why else would you be watching this fucking garbage? Like seriously, like what the fuck? But again, you don't want to come off abrasively. I'm a very abrasive person, but I can put on my happy face. If that means getting 15 extra votes for Bernard, that means getting 15 extra votes. A lot of people don't understand that the movement of electing this fucker president, #1 goal, so you got to do whatever you can. My YouTube channel and how I behave in public around strangers are not even remotely, well, maybe they're remotely similar. I'm still a little goofy, but either way, I don't say fuck every 15 words. Maybe it might have slipped out once. It's possible. Totally possible, but there's no evidence, so clearly it didn't happen. But yes, great experience. Again, I recommend you do the same. Yeah, I felt like this could have been a vlog or an Above It All, but I figured it is very politics focused, and I just wanted to kind of talk about the general experience more, than kind of like the general experience with the intent to get other people to do it. And I feel like this is probably the more applicable series to go under. Maybe I'll record myself actually walking around and make that a vlog next time. But either way, again, go ahead and do that. And also, my postscript, I'm doing a new series relatively soon, probably in a day or two. I've gotten maybe about 10 solid questions so far, and maybe a few other ones, so I'm probably going to do this soon. But I'm going to do a Q&A series because I've gotten about 500 new subscribers over the past 3 or 4 weeks, which is a pretty big influx given that I started out at around 4.2 thousand. 4,200 in other words, but that's how they abbreviate it, so that's what my brain is on. But I've gained a lot of subscribers, for the past. Let me actually look at the numbers. So I'm at 4474. So I've gained 400 then. Not 5. I wish. Maybe by the time this month is over, I'll be at 500. Pretty good growth, I must say. But a lot of people here might not know that much about me. I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now. I got a lot of lore, a lot of backstory. I could write a fucking book on this garbage. Whew, a lot of scoops. So if you have any questions, any concerns even, say you're concerned, with whatever, and you want to hear my response, anything you would like to hear a response for, hit me up. Just say, I have a question for the grab bag. You have to say duh and not the. It's very important that you do that. And I will answer it in a video soon, and that is all. So, turn this fucking video off immediately. Turn it off. Go phone bank, and then go canvas. Get this fucker elected. I just hurt my hand tapping it on my desk. So I'm sacrificing myself. I'm doing it literally. Like, it still hurts. It's not as bad as when I just did it like 8 seconds ago, but it still hurts a little bit. Okay, it doesn't hurt anymore, so I'm gonna turn the video off.